All right, we got number 10. We got Jadakiss. So, since about the turn of the century, makes you sound old, doesn't it? Since about 2000, Kiss has been claiming he's top 5 dead or alive. I know he's ranked number 10 on this list, but that doesn't mean that he's wrong. An argument can be made for that. If we had a top 5 lyricist, then that's a no-brainer. Based on the rubric, we have to speak to it. Now, as we should know by now, he's basically the face of the Lox. And the Lox are in the conversation of one of the greatest groups ever. Kiss and Styles and Luch have been a staple of the culture since '94, when they first made their mark on the Clue tape with that You'll See song. Styles' verse wasn't even played on that joint. They just went straight to Kiss and Luch and then Big. That was actually the first verse I memorized from Kiss. The L to the O, X amount of flow. For what it's worth, Jada's verse is somehow easy to remember. I don't know why. This capability is one that only a few MCs possess. Nas is another one like that holds that trait. But this ain't about Nas. I will get to him eventually. Anyway, it took them 4 years of appearances and freestyling on mixtapes and ghostwriting before they got a shot at their own album. I mean, they even had a multi-platinum single for somebody else before they even had an album of their own. And I know this ain't about the Lox, but we gotta tell the story of why Kiss deserves a top 10 ranking. Because when you think of the Lox, Kiss is normally who people are gonna recognize first, mainly because of his bars, and more notably, his voice. And sometimes we really underestimate how much delivery matters. For example, I know Big Sean has a fan base, and deservingly so, but I can't listen to none of his music because of the nasally delivery and cadence. Hey, I mean more power to him. This, not a slight to him getting his money, but his music just ain't for me. Anyway, moving forward, as a solo artist, he directly benefited from being the face of the Lox and his history with Bad Boy and his reputation from the streets and the mixtapes. Since '94, there goes that year, has been no stranger to burn up Clue tapes or whoever. The ultimate ish talker, slick talker, and the catalog is extensive when it comes to the freestyles and the street work. After he dropped the We Are the Streets album with the Lox in 2000, he followed that up with his first solo album, Kiss the Game Goodbye. And that gave us joints like We Gonna Make It classic, Knock Yourself Out classic, and Put Your Hands Up is a street classic. All certified bangers, but his fatal flaw are his albums, which is so weird. Like, with the amount of talent he possesses and skills displayed, you would just expect more from his album. Maybe we had expectations too high, but I don't think so. He has always been opposite of some of the grittiest rhyme spitters on earth, or just Yonkers. And as a side note, the Lox was probably one of the banner wavers for Yonkers altogether. We know Mary J came out first, but the Lox really held the banner and put Yonkers on the map. Whether they was with Styles, Jay, Nas, or Prodigy, he always found a way to put work into the track, whether it was his or somebody else hosting it. Now, master swordsmanship, and he gives you something to make the stink face to every time he says something. There was always more street play than radio play, because once upon a time, it made a difference if he was on a radio station, and that was like kind of true standard of success. Now, he's an MC and a showman. If you have not noticed, when him and his team dismantled Dipset in front of everybody, he pulled out a 5-year-old verse out the woodworks to put a nail in the coffin on that verse. Just showman of all types, all right? Top 5 lyricists, top 5 in freestyles, arguably a top 5 group, top 1-2 combo, top 5 in witty bars and punchlines, went toe-to-toe with Beans, threw a refrigerator at Puff to get out of his contract. I mean, mentored by Big, the cornerstone of the corner store, gave us memorable bars in all of his features. There was always something you could take away from a feature. 5 solo albums, 1 collab album with Fabulous, who we also destroyed in the verses, 4 albums with the Lox, 2 Rough Rider albums, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Too many freestyles to speak on. Regardless of where you rank him, he's part of the fabric of the culture from the golden era to this day.
He's right here, all right?